So as I was thinking about content area literacy for math, I was just really thinking about ways that I struggled in elementary and middle and high school to understand the readings that I had to do for my math subject. And one of those was figuring out how to read a math textbook, because often teachers would encourage us to do math problems from the textbook, but we didn't really know how to read it and how to use the explanations and the examples they gave to apply to the math problems when we were struggling. So I think this resource of steps to figure out how to read a math textbook is really important for math teachers to read and go to, and also give to their students to help them have specific steps about how to read a math textbook. I think it can also be really helpful for teachers outside of the math field, because a lot of the steps, such as like skimming for an overview and rereading with concentration, are really helpful for teachers in any content area. Obviously, the steps about completing the math problems or following the math examples wouldn't really apply necessarily, but I think a lot of the other steps are just as important for the other content areas as they are for math. So this is my math textbook for one of my classes, and I was just going to go through the steps and explain how these can be helpful. So the first step is skimming for an overview. So what I would do is just take, for example, section 1.2, and I would explain to my students to just go through it and read it, the whole thing, without doing anything. Just read it first, the entire section 1.2. And then I would tell them to read it again, and this time using something with a highlighter to highlight topics that they either need help with or that they think are important. And then I would encourage them to go through each step of each example. So like in this textbook, it has stages of what to do to plot the base 10 system on a number line. So I would get them to, as tedious as it is, to go through each stage and write it in a notebook so that later they can go back to that example when they're solving problems. Next, just fill in any gaps and anything that you don't know. Think about what you've read and make it your own. And I think make it your own is really important, because I think teaching is the best way to learn. So I would encourage my students to get with a partner or get with a parent at home and explain how they did that problem in their math book, using the examples from the actual textbook. And then finally, just divide and conquer. So take each section of the math textbook in chunks, so like section 1.2, section 1.3, and then finally just do homework problems. We've all grown up doing that, but I think reading the textbook, knowing how to read a math textbook, and also writing down the examples from the math textbook are really important when you get to the final step of solving homework problems.